prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
Good Sunday morning. My name is the Indy Kid. This is the Talkin VAWLS podcast. This is the day after South Carolina edition. Before we get into recapping the game from yesterday, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in for the post game yesterday. And as always, we'll be going live Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will also be going live for a pregame tailgate next Saturday night. Not sure if that'll be 6:30. I think the game is a 7:30 game. I could be wrong. Maybe 7. I need to double check that. But we will be live. We'll have that updated Tuesday night. But South Carolina comes to Knoxville and it takes a beat down from the VAWLS, 45-20. Tennessee wins a game that was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Got a little interesting at one point. Had South Carolina had hit their 2-point conversion in the second half, would have made it a 2-score game. Alante Taylor does get the pick in the end zone. That left it an 18-point game. And then Tennessee did add another touchdown on to make it 45-20, and that's what the game ended up. But the first half was a thing of beauty. Tennessee's quickly off the field. Defense was off the field within a minute of when the game started. And then Tennessee goes right down the field. Jalen Hyatt with the touchdown. They get the ball back again and go back down. Javonte Payton with the touchdown. 28 points 2 weeks in a row on SEC opponents in the first quarter. That's pretty impressive. And when Josh Heupel's play calling, when he gets in a groove, it is a thing of beauty. It is, and they looked really good in the first half. We've all determined at this point that they did take their foot off the gas in the second half, but I'm not complaining about. I mean, honestly, I would have liked to have seen them kept their foot on their throats and went full throttle until up into the fourth quarter, because I don't have any doubt in my mind they could have put 50-60 on South Carolina. But, a really good day. Good day again, 2 weeks in a row. Big wins over Missouri and South Carolina. And what I mean by big margin of victories. And now where does Tennessee go from here? That's the question. The gauntlet gets real. Things are about to pick up. But before we get into the next 4 weeks, just kind of looking at what Tennessee did yesterday as far as defense. They gave up 217 yards through the air. 44 of those were on the fake punt, where I think it was Warren Burrell just fell asleep. That should have never happened. Not in a punt return safe. You got to have your head about you. And I would imagine some coaches were not happy about that. They did. South Carolina had 153 yards rushing. Kevin Harris was the main one, 16 carries for 61 yards, 3.8 per carry, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad day for the defense. Not a bad day. Can't really complain a whole lot about that. South Carolina did some good things in the second half, but the game was pretty far out of reach. Again, it was stood to get interesting, but Tennessee stepped up, made the play. On Tennessee's side, Hendon Hooker, another very efficient game. 17 out of 23, 225 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. 94.3 QBR. Rushing, Tennessee, 49 carries for 247 yards. So, once again, that is 472 yards. Not a bad day in the office for what was considered a top 30 defense coming in. I think South Carolina was ranked 26th in defense. So that's a pretty nice day against a higher defense, even though I think that was The only really probably decent offense South Carolina played was Georgia. But still, I think this was a step up in defense from what Missouri was also. Rushing, Tyon Evans, 16 carries, 119 yards. That's a 7.4 yard average and 1 touchdown. Hendon Hooker had 20 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Lynette Whitehead, 10 carries for 41 and a touchdown. And then Bayless Jones had 1 carry for 15 yards, and Marcus Pierce Jr., 2 carries for 6 yards. It's kind of interesting how the running back room has evolved as well from the beginning of the year. I know Jabari Small is out, but I'm not sure what's going on with Jalen Wright, as he was the third option earlier on, and now I'm not sure if he's hurt or if guys have moved ahead of him. And then the wide receiver room, you got Bayless Jones, 6 receptions, 103 yards and a touchdown. Cedric Tillman, 6 receptions, 59 yards. Javonte Payton, 1 reception, 39 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Hyatt, 3 receptions, 21 yards and a touchdown. And Princeton Fant, 1 reception for 3 yards. Kind of interesting how both of the rooms, the running back and the wide receiver room, how they both evolved as Tennessee's cut down on their wide receiver rotation. And I hope those guys who aren't playing now, I hope they keep their head about them, stay in there, because you got to think that Jones and Payton are super seniors. They're for sure gone after this year. So there's going to be opportunity next year. But you've got 2 guys who are playing good football, and ever since Bayless has moved to the slot, he's starting to become the weapon that we anticipated coming in. Javonte Payton, he seems to be the deep guy. Yeah, the deep passes are getting hit are to him. Cedric Tillman, he does. I like him. He does a lot of things for this offense. He's a bigger-bodied receiver, and good to see Jalen Hyatt make some plays yesterday as well. I know he's had some struggles this year, but it's not for lack of talent. It's definitely not for lack of talent. Good day for him as well, getting a touchdown. I know he was excited getting a touchdown against South Carolina, him being from Irmo, which is just right outside of Columbia. So that was, he's got to come in with a little extra pep in his step for South Carolina week as well. Defensively, there were some injuries yesterday, and I'll get to that in a minute, but Brandon Turnage gets the start at nickel. 14 tackles for him yesterday. 2 for loss. 7 solo tackles. Very good day for him. Very good day. And I know Josh Hype on the postgame described his play as rock solid. And so good day for him. Just kind of looking over. Trayvon Flowers, 9 tackles. Aaron Beasley, 9 tackles. Guy continues to get better. Jeremy Banks, 8 tackles. 1.5 sacks. Jaquan Blakely, I thought he had a sack as well. It's not listing it for him, but I thought he made some big plays as well. Solon Page, 6 tackles. Let's see. Jalen McCullough had a big interception when it was 14-0. South Carolina, oh my gosh, if I'd have been a South Carolina fan, I would have been livid at the call. You've run down the field, and then you try to get cute and run a trick play. Tennessee read it. McCullough picked it. And then Tennessee was right back down the field in a matter of moments on that. What a huge shift. I never understand it, why you run something all the way down the field, whether you're running it, whether you're passing, whatever you're doing that's working, and then you get down to the goal line and get cute. It's so silly. So silly. It's so overthought. But hey, I'm glad it was on the other foot and not ours for sure. Byron Young had a half sack. Matthew Butler, a sack. Tyler Barron had a sack. Overall, I thought it was a good day for the defense. Again, they held South Carolina 153 yards rushing. That's not a bad day. It's not a bad day. And Harris was the leading rusher in the conference last year. So holding him to 61 yards, which South Carolina's run offense has not done anything like they did last year, but still yet another good day for them. Moving forward, how's Tennessee going to look as they start the gauntlet this week of Ole Miss? And then you've got Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia all mixed in. Thankfully, there is a bye week the weekend of Halloween. Where does Tennessee go from here, though? How beat up are they? How injured? Were these just things that were precautionary yesterday, or were some of them more serious? Josh Heupel made the comment about Tyon Evans that he just held him out. Didn't see the point bringing him back in. And hopefully that's the case. This team needs Tyon Evans in a bad way. They need Jabari Small back as well. But if you're going to win any of these next 4 games, you're going to have those guys. I really feel you need Cooper Mays as well. I thought there were some struggles at left guard numerous times yesterday. The line had some, even though the rushing numbers were good, the line had a rough second half. Some of that, I think Hendon Hooker could have thrown the ball away. I think he could have gotten rid of it a little quicker and avoided some sacks. But that's kind of my only complaint with Hooker. Get the ball out and get rid of it in those times. Just throw it away. Worst case, instead of taking that 5-yard loss. Sometimes it's out of your hands. Happens so quick you can't do anything about it. But still, overall, man, the big thing with this team, and the big thing it's helping them jive. For the first time since Josh Dobbs was in Knoxville, Tennessee has a solid quarterback. A solid, consistent quarterback. That cannot be overstated. Hendon Hooker and Josh Heupel, this offense, it's gelled, it's jived. Now it's going to be tested. So I think they'll score some points against Ole Miss. They're going to give up some points as well. This is going to be a fun game. Hopefully when the scoreboard hits 60 minutes, hopefully the Orange are on top. If you're somebody who's going this week to that game, bring it, guys. Boo Lane Kiffin out of the stadium. He's already kind of going last night saying, yeah, won't you break in black jerseys out again? Tennessee broke the black jerseys out perfectly now that I think about it, because I initially said, yeah, you break it out for that game. No. They did it perfectly. Did it for South Carolina. Don't give Lane Kiffin any more pub than he needs for this week, because it's going to be talked about. It's going to be talked about Saturday night. Don't need to give him any more than he deserves. And kind of like in the old movie Heartbreak Ridge, where Highway says, don't give the prick the satisfaction. That's kind of the same this week as well. Tennessee, I would imagine, will be the underdog this week. This is a good Ole Miss team, explosive offense. But Tennessee can score some points on them as well. And I think Tennessee has a little better defense than Ole Miss does. But I know Kiffin's a year ahead with his system, with his program. He's got a heck of a quarterback in Corral. And then you got Alabama, who surprisingly got beat last night. You got Kentucky. Kentucky had a good game last night against LSU and then Georgia. I maintain over the next 4 games that if Tennessee wins one of them, I feel that's a win, because that sets them up to win 7 games. Anything other than that is icing on the cake. And yeah, I want to win all 4 of them. I'll take as many wins as you can get out of those, but this is a tough stretch, one of the toughest ones. And they always seem to have these tough stretches, but this one looks rough. And we'll find out more about Kentucky this week as well as they play Georgia. But Kentucky is, I still say that's a gettable game just because of the offenses. But the bottom line in any of these games is Tennessee's going to have to play mistake-free. The line's going to have to be better. The injury issues, they've got to be full strength. This team just does not have the depth to go against some of these better teams. But another good week for Tennessee, 45-20 win for them. That moves them to 4-2 on the year. They've already got more wins and more points scored than all of last year. That's pretty cool. Granted, that was an all SEC schedule. This is not. So maybe it's a little bit of an apples to oranges comparison, but still, yet they have scored more points this year than they scored all of last year. And this is in 6 games opposed to 10. You guys have a good Sunday. This is going to wrap it up. Again, we'll be live Tuesday night at 8 p.m. There'll be videos coming at you this week. Boogie will bring football. I'm going to try to bring some basketball this week as well, as practice has started. There was some Rick Barnes talk last week, spoke about the freshmen coming in. I'm excited about basketball. I'm excited about that team. We'll talk about that later on. We'll try to drop some videos on that this week as well. Fall baseball's in swing right now. Really excited for baseball. It's Tennessee. It's kind of odd. I don't cover it that much with baseball. They're picking up commits all the time, it seems like. And just for different years, it could be as high as up to 2025. They've got commitments. It's kind of wild to see, but that program's rolling. Good things are happening on Rocky Top. Hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel with this football program. I like what we've seen. We'll see how it goes over the long haul, but I like that we've got a staff who plays to win. They come out every week to win. Can't ask for much more than that from them. But my name's Andy Kidd. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. Enjoy your Sunday. In the words of Boogie Bentley, go Big Orange.